Okay, welcome. Welcome, guys. We are talking about the frontier today, specifically the Ordinals frontier. But I guess it's going to be a more general conversation about, the Bitcoin space and what you guys are building. The previous panel, was about soft forks. Soft forks usually, create new parcels of land. We already have land, and now we're trying to settle the frontier. You guys are the ones, building the tools you can give to people to go forth and conquer the frontier. So I'm very excited to kind of, get your perspective. We have a very nice, diverse set of opinions here, and then let's try to explore, what's going on the frontier. So, kind of to start off, I'm just going to start to my right here and just tell the audience who you are, what you do, and more importantly, why you're working on Bitcoin, why you're working with Ordinals, and how you kind of came to be in the position that you are. Let's start with Arik.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Arik, or Dev Aloft. I'm the creator of Chisel, which was really more of a fun side project that I built upon being prompted by a friend to help him out with some inscribing, and then insisting that to create an inscription, it should not be necessary to have a fully synced Bitcoin node. So out of a little script sprang a whole application that has been able to adopt a lot of the protocol developments fairly quickly and even hopefully push some innovation along the way. It's been incredibly fun. It's been really satisfying helping folks push the boundary. And it's incredible to see that really it's pure happenstance that has put me in this position, but I'm really excited to be here.
GM, everyone, I'm Naqib. I think most of you guys know who I am. Just to, again, introduce myself, I'm the co-founder for Odza, and right now I'm in a new project I'm in called Protocol, so I'm the CSO for Protocol, and I'm really excited to kind of be part of this panel because I want to talk about how, like what Raph mentioned, we are building something on top of Ordinals, on top of runes, and how we can use our platform to kind of further build for the communities, how we're going to use, for example, runes to be able to use on trading side, on Bitcoin side, which Protocol is doing, how we can use runes to wrap altcoins into Bitcoin instead, how we can use runes to do many things, right? That's why I'm trying to use the runes part to make it like a proper utility that you can use natively on Bitcoin as well to get further tokens. So that's pretty much it from my side. Yeah.
Thanks, Naqib. My name is Stan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sats Terminal. Sats Terminal is the Bitcoin DeFi aggregator. Currently, we have, I would say, probably #1 DEX aggregator for runes trading. Just recently, we integrated Alkanes, and I think we will be later talking a little bit about the Meta protocol, so we can touch on that. But yeah, basically, we're building right now our DEX aggregator and a couple of other products. And we plan to deploy our bridge aggregator next month. So let's go. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Cara. I'm the CEO of Polybeam. We operate a Bitcoin runes to Starknet bridge that just actually launched this morning. So go try it out. And I think one of the things that I have liked about Ordinals and runes is like a creative use of something that already existed. Kind of like an off-label prescription, but not really. And that, to me, is always like a fun and exciting thing. It's like the ability to discover something on Bitcoin that kind of was already there. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Asher. I'm the founder and CIO of the first Bitcoin native asset hedge fund. So we trade things like inscriptions, runes, BRC20 tokens. The founders, in addition to me, are UTXO Management, which I think many people probably know are also the owners of Bitcoin Magazine. And then also Domo, the creator of BRC20 fungible tokens on Bitcoin, is also a founder of the fund. And I'll just quickly say, I'm not building anything on Bitcoin like everybody else on stage. It's an honor to be up here with them. What we do instead is we invest in the protocols, the bridges, and I guess beyond. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a great group here. So we have Investor. We have, I would say, like two kind of bridge protocols, like Protocol and Polybeam. And then we have two people like swaps or like very like internal to Bitcoin. Like you two guys are kind of, you kind of stay on Bitcoin and you two kind of like bridge out. So that's kind of like, let's start like on Bitcoin. Like what kind of tools are, for example, what exactly are you building for USAT's terminal? What are you using? What kind of are the minimal requirements that a user kind of needs to kind of start using your product? Like, how do you kind of think about that? What do I need to kind of use it?
So the minimum requirements are quite easy. You just go to website, connect your wallet, and boom, you have it.
So you could like any like Xverse wallet, anything like.
Yeah. We have all the wallets integrated. Xverse is like what top wallet. All of our users definitely love Xverse, and it's like one of the preferred wallets. But we also have integrated a bunch of other ones. Just recently, we added Oil. I was talking in Paris as well with BitGet to integrate them. So we are trying to get those bigger brands also into Runes and Bitcoin space right now. But we also have a bunch of other ones that are live. I think Magic Eden, Unisat, OKX, etc. What we are building is a DEX aggregator. So we have a bunch of these individual platforms like Magic Eden. You have DotSwap, you have Runes DEX, and we aggregate all of those platforms together and we give you the best price. So you always get the most out of your Bitcoin if you trade through SAT's terminal.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's a nice tool. How about you, Arik? Like, how do you think about the user? Like, how do people use your platform? What kind of protocols do you support on your platform?
Yeah, let's start with the easier question of the supported protocols. So Chisel supports, it's super simple. It just supports inscriptions and runes. A lot of the complexity is on the back end. And hopefully, developers will be able to use the API because the API is really where most of the functionality is unlocked, stuff that I'm not good enough a front-end engineer to expose in the UI. But regarding what users can do and how users can use Chisel, I have to admit that I have some strong biases because I've been working in Bitcoin for quite some time. I think it's going to be a decade this year. And the background, before Ethereum came out, or it was just about the year that Ethereum came out, was all about privacy and eliminating address reuse. So when I was first building out Chisel, the idea was to allow pretty much any wallet to use it. And the way all traditional Bitcoin applications did that was just by showing a QR code or an address and then letting people send in their money there. So this is still the way that Chisel is designed. There is help in the UI for users of Xverse and Unisat, the original two major ordinal and inscription-enabled wallets. But I'm quite pleased with the fact that it doesn't really enforce or impose any restrictions on users as to how they're supposed to interact with it. I'm quite glad that people can use any existing wallet out there. They can send money from their Bitcoin node and interact with Chisel thus. So hopefully at some point in the future, other or existing wallets will also embrace minimizing address reuse, for example. That is one of the things, that is one of the major reasons that connecting wallets is not supported on Chisel. It's just using wallets to send funds. But we'll see. I think that I think we're still super early, especially when it comes to using ordinals and inscriptions. And there's so much really obvious improvement to be done. It's just, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. And with the amount of time that has passed, I fear it will also take a lot of convincing, but I think we'll get there anyway.
Great. So yeah, I think like Chisel or Arix is like a great asset origination tool. Like I would like people to use the Ord wallet, but as a command line tool, like it's very difficult to use. His tool is super nice. You can just click around. So you originate assets with him, and you can trade them around with your tool. And now, if you really want to go out there, what do? You use bridges. So this is now my question to you, Naqib, Protocol, and then after that, Cara. You're building bridges. Could you maybe explain what is a bridge and specifically how does your protocol fit into that, if I'm characterizing that correctly?
Yeah, I mean for protocol itself, we have two parts, which is the swap and the bridge, right? So protocol that has a name called Bro, right? Our goal is to connect with everything out there. as a bro. Like if you have L2s, you have different chains, you want to be a bro to you, you want to connect and aggregate everything. We are we want to be an aggregator hub for everything within the Bitcoin ecosystem. Whether you're building in Arch, in Oil, in Alkanes, whatever, we want to integrate with all of you. So it gives easy access to people to come in and interact within the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, right? So you can even use SAS terminal, you can integrate SAS terminal and all this, and that's what protocol is all about. And when it comes to bridges and stuff, we build on bridges that can bring different assets into Bitcoin, and that's always, our focus has always been to bring assets or liquidity back to Bitcoin. So like for example, on the swap side, we did a fun thing that no one thought about, where instead of, people have been taking Bitcoin out and wrapping like WBTC out from the Bitcoin ecosystem, we actually wrapped altcoins into Bitcoins using runes. So for example, now, if you go to protocol, you go to our bro swap, if you want to buy, if you're a native Bitcoin holder and let's say you want to buy Solana, right? The normal steps has always been to go to a centralized exchange, to go to simple swap, and then you have to juggle multiple wallets, like let's say using Magic Eden for Solana, and then you use Xverse for Bitcoin. With protocol, with bro swap, you can just natively swap your Bitcoin into Solana, and then hold the Solana in the Bitcoin wallet. And how we did it is we pull Solana from LPs, like from Radium, whatever, and then we wrap it using runes. So it's a fun thing. Like no one ever thought of using runes to wrap stuff. We did it.
I've never thought about the other way around. That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, right? So now you can hold Solana in your Bitcoin wallet, and then whenever this Solana goes up, you can swap back to Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to stack sats. Like all roads leads to Bitcoin, always. And our bridge side, we work with multiple bridges assets. So like I said, we want to work with anyone out there, and we want to be the hub for anyone to come in to understand Bitcoin ecosystem, use our platform to go around. And that's what we do in the bridge style to make things fun.
That's cool. Now over to you, Cara. You're also kind of building a bridge. Kind of maybe start with, from the user side, from the UX, like how do people use your bridge, and then kind of, if you want, go into like why you designed it that way, like what securities, what like safety mechanisms, or like how can users kind of trust a bridge? When you cross a bridge, you don't want it to collapse. So like, feel free to kind of, like talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, from a user perspective, I think a bridge in its basic sense is a connection, right, between two places. And in the context of Polybeam, it's a connection between specifically the Runes protocol on Bitcoin and Starknet. And so, similar to what Naqib was saying with protocol, you move Runes over to Starknet, and you receive an ERC20 that is equivalent to that rune. That you can hold in your Starknet wallet, and then going back the other way, you do the same thing. You can buy the ERC20 on Starknet, and bridge it back to Bitcoin, and then the rune shows up in your Bitcoin wallet. And so we really are an infrastructure provider, Polybeam. We operate this underlying bridge. If you want to use it currently, our front end is at Startgate. So that's a front end that Starknet also has to bridge to, Ethereum, things like that. But now, as of this morning, it has a Bitcoin side of it as well. So yeah, you can connect your Xverse wallet, you can connect Unisat, and then on the Starknet side, it's Bravos, Argent, I think MetaMask, and a couple others. And so it's it's a pretty familiar user flow, right? Exactly. And then, to your second question, like how do people trust, when they're sending their Bitcoin asset over to this other network, that things are going to operate appropriately? And for us, what I'll say to that is two things. And the first is, with Polybeam specifically, we're really deliberate about having a decentralized architecture. So the bridge is built in many components. It's been audited twice, I believe. It has undergone several security reviews. And so from the programmatic side, it's pretty safe. But the thing I think that always comes up with any of these Bitcoin bridges is, well, Bitcoin's really like a multi-sig. So what are you doing there? And we made the deliberate choice with Polybeam to select a federation of transaction validators to look at the transactions going from Bitcoin to Starknet and vice versa, and select for things like industry experience, like diversity experience, like Xverse is one of our validators, Blockspace Force, UTXO management actually, and oil, and folks that understand how the Bitcoin ecosystem works, but then also have really good reputations within the community. And that was important to us because it's only as solid as the folks that are supporting it.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel safer already. I might bridge some assets over.
You should do that. And
Did you launch today? Didn't you launch today?
Yeah, we did launch today, and it's funny, Nabik, as you were speaking. One of the things that we have operating right now on top of the bridge is asset runes, which to your point, like, I don't understand why people haven't done this sooner, but what Starkware did was they minted a rune called USDC Starknet. They bridged it over to Starknet and set up a one-to-one swap contract. Yeah, right? Like, why has no one done this?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that, if we do this way, is increase the security of everything, because the finality is based on Bitcoin L1, right? And yeah, it's just crazy that no one has done it.
I know. So you have the guaranteed, like, you have the utility of USDC, but on Bitcoin,
Yes.
and then you have the guarantee via a trustless but very public smart contract that you can know that rune is redeemable.
It is.
Down the line.
And everything is all transparent, and you can actually just audit it yourself publicly as well.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the beauty part of using runes which no one has ever done before.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. A question for Asher. As an investor, now we've heard kind of all the things you can do with your Bitcoin assets, how you push them out into the wider like digital economy or whatever. How do you think about kind of the frontier? Can be Bitcoin general, crypto in general. How do you as an investor kind of view the market? Where is it heading? What are you kind of looking at?
Yeah, good question, Raph. So we think a lot about bridging. We think a lot about meta protocols. And I guess I'll just maybe touch on both just very briefly. So, the history of Bitcoin layer 2s and bridging of Bitcoin, it's actually a pretty rich and old history. Rootstock and Stacks are actually the original players in that space. And I guess, there's just a lot of things you can learn from looking at the evolution of Rootstock and Stacks. I'm a big fan of both, actually. I think they're both really, really great projects. But what you really didn't see happen on either is like this Cambrian explosion of tokens and token trading and lending. None of that ever happened. When did that happen? That happened when meta protocols came to Bitcoin. That happened when BRC20 came to Bitcoin. That happened when runes came to Bitcoin, and that happened when ordinals came to Bitcoin. So I guess, I think bridges have a very important role to play. I'm not here to poo-poo bridges in any way. We use bridges. I like bridges. I support bridges. I'm just of the opinion that and it's something we talk about a lot in our fund, there's a premium to be paid to not have to expose yourself to the risk of bridges. I guess the last thing I'll say about it is there's been a lot of discussion about making bridges more trustless. And I think there's been a lot of progress on that. For example, somebody, she was talking about a bridge that I would 100% trust my assets in, given who's in that federation. But in the end, people don't really talk about it that much. But really the only technology at play in bridging currently is federations and is multi-sigs. So it comes down to making sure you have the correct people in that federation is how we look at it. The example that was given up here is obviously, that's the cream of the crop. it's like a dream team. So I mean, that's a federation that one could trust. But I guess I'm just making the point that it still does require trust. So that's something that we consider a lot when we look at these types of investments. And last quick point I'll make is I believe that the holy grail of what we can have on BTC is a stable coin like Tether that's issued directly on layer 1 using a meta protocol. And I do believe that that's coming.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I think on the stablecoin side, I think USDT actually announced that they are gonna have USDT native. I won't say natively, but using via Taproot assets, right? I think that they announced it recently on January. So they are already looking at coming into Bitcoin, issuing assets. I think it was $500 million assets into Bitcoin via Taproot assets, and they are working closely with Lightning Labs, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So I think that's a very, very big win for the whole like BTC-Fi or Bitcoin ecosystem, having a very strong stablecoin backed.
Yeah, you guys mentioned like meta protocols and how kind of Ordinals started this like Cambrian explosion of like new ideas, new meta protocols you can start. Maybe like one more time for Asher, but anyone can kind of answer this. Like for Asher, maybe like since there's this Cambrian explosion, like many different life forms, many different things, how do you identify or what kind of do you look at like which meta protocols do you think will be successful, or like what metrics do you look at to kind of gauge will this be successful and stuff like that? And then also for the rest, if they want to like say something on meta protocols.
That's a really, really hard question. Early on, when Ordinals first came out, it was very clear to me that it was absolutely one of the most important things that had ever happened in Bitcoin. And I guess what I'd just say that I think is unique about it, and I think people have mentioned this before, is the idea of numbering sats in, first in, first out accounting principles, it just makes so much sense. And then having the ability to then associate those sats with an asset and then trade those assets on Bitcoin, it's so intuitive. You almost don't even have to explain it. It like makes sense in your bones. And the reason I'm saying that, Raph, is because I think that's something you should look for, is what just makes sense. And I think BRC20 is an example, and Runes, which came after as well. It technically, there's so much to be criticized about it, but it was so simple and it just made sense. All you had to do was inscribe a piece of a text blurb saying that you were creating a token, that you were minting a token, that you were transferring a token. So I think what we look for is meta protocols that make sense, that serve a use case, and that we see actually getting market adoption. Because that last piece is important, because unfortunately, there are a lot of great ideas out there. There are a lot of great ideas out there that even raise funding. But as we all know as Bitcoiners, all of this stuff is only valuable to the degree that people use it. So what we look for is adoption. We look for people piling into this stuff early.
Kind of on the same note of like meta protocols, kind of specifically looking at like ordinals and runes, is there any feature in any of these protocols that you're really looking forward to? Like I'm maybe going to hand it off here to my right to Arik if you have something on that, but like it's open to anyone.
I don't think there's anything in particular with runes that I think runes are fairly feature complete. I know that Casey added various considerations, maybe like the turbo property for opting into future protocol upgrades, which I guess are unlikely. But what's fun about inscriptions is that you can really play around significantly with the envelope. Like all of the properties that are already there, you can already extend them beyond what's already supported. I think one of the things that I had been toying with and talking about for a while is alternatives to the way that the pointer system is currently being used, because for people who are not familiar, pointers are an even tag that allow you to specify alternative input ordinals that an inscription is supposed to be attached to. So if in lieu of having to do this precision accounting, you could specify a certain input index or even an output index that ought to be attached to instead, that might make things significantly simpler. I guess one thing that was really interesting, so there has been this recent development where the protocol has added support for collections. And one of the things that I have been thinking about with regard to collections is that, in principle, it could have even been implemented differently, because really what collections are is just pointers to other existing inscriptions. So you could have, for example, used multi-delegation as an alternative mechanism for denoting which other inscriptions your collection or collecting inscription was supposed to point to. It's just, I really do think that people have been experimenting so much with the inscription content and kind of neglecting all the possibilities that you could have playing around with the raw inscription envelope, with the headers. So unfortunately, I'm not really a creative guy. I think the likes of Raph, Casey, and the greater community at large can come up with so many way more creative proposals. But I would really encourage everybody who is messing around with this stuff to just think more deeply about it, because like, if even to me, who is not creative at all, it is so obvious how much potential there is out there. I'm sure that people who are actually capable of coming up with ideas will show us truly phenomenal ways of expanding this.
I really wish we could continue this conversation, because I have a bunch more questions, but I've been told to wrap it up. So maybe starting this time at the back, we're going to do some outros. Who are you? Where can we find more info? You can really shill now. Are you looking to raise money? Are you looking to deploy capital? Are you looking to hire? Just chill away, guys. You have the stage. And also, what are you looking forward to? Down the line here.
So the best way to find me is on Twitter, @Corson. And Unbroken Chain is currently not fundraising. But what I am always looking for is interesting new projects, whether they're inscriptions, meta protocols, or tokens in the Bitcoin space. We obviously only trade Bitcoin native assets, so it has to have a pretty direct connection back to Bitcoin to be within our mandate. But I love to meet people that are building things in the space. So if you're working on something, I would love to talk to you. Thank you.
So if you want to follow Polybeam on Twitter, it's actually @polybeaming. We could be a verb too. We are looking to raise now that we are live, and we essentially are just looking to support the giant bucket of ideas we have about things that we can add to the bridge.
Just to add 2 words on the previous question, one feature request we want for runes is shorter names. That's it.
They will come. They will come with time.
That's what we want. And a lot of people are outside of Bitcoin. They say, "Hey, we want to have shorter names. It's easier. It's just easier."
You have to wait for a couple of years.
But yeah,
it's a slow burn with runes. You got to be patient. It's the Bitcoin way, You got to be patient. Low time preference. But they're coming.
Makes sense. Yeah, and for the outro, you can guys follow us on Twitter, Sats Terminal. We just launched our points program. So if you go and swap through Sats Terminal, you get the points, and eventually those points will probably become something. I cannot say more.
Hint,
but
hint, wink, wink.
Go and farm points with us. Check our updates. Our bridge aggregator will be soon. We will be also opening a small private test group. So yeah, happy to see you all in our Twitter. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Naqib again. If you want to follow me, the best place to follow is on X, Naqib_Noor. For Protocol, is on X, is Protocol_X.xyz. For Protocol itself, if you are a guy that loves Bitcoin and do not like to wrap your Bitcoin out of Bitcoin, we are the place that we can help you on that, right? Let's say you want to buy, like I said, you have 3 products, Bro Swap, Bro Bridge, and Bro Pay, which is coming out soon. And all these 3 have the concept of bringing liquidity into Bitcoin, right? The Bro Swap is wrapping all the altcoins into Bitcoin natively. so that you can swap your Bitcoin to these tokens and store it in your own wallet. And then the bridge is a bridge, like any other bridge, right, for fun. The Bro Pay is where it's interesting, where we focus on working with projects like Gamma, Trio, Magic Eden, Odds, whatever. The idea is to also kind of get users like from Solana, Ethereum, to be able to mint ordinals using their native asset, while the sellers still get Bitcoin natively. So that's what we're trying to build as well in terms of the infra to make people want to come to Bitcoin. So that's protocol for you. All roads lead to Bitcoin.
All right, you can find Chisel at chisel.xyz, and if you're a developer, please do check out developer.chisel.xyz, which is an API reference. And if you may indulge me, one feature highlight. If you see the API guide, you will see that one of the things you can set is a lock time, and that is actually a feature that Chisel also uses for reserving rune names. So you were just talking about really short names. You can go to chisel.xyz right now, like this second, and etch a rune like A or AB or something really, really short on Chisel. And it will already broadcast the commitment, and it will obviously not broadcast the revelation until the very first block wherein the revelation will be valid. And if Chisel were to shut down because I got run over by a bus or like kidnapped in Paris and then didn't pay my server bills or something like that, you can also download the transaction hex, which is time locked. So even if you tried broadcasting it accidentally prematurely, it will not go through, and it'll also show you in which block you can first broadcast it. And then when the block comes around, whether Chisel be around or not, you will be able to broadcast it, and it will work. Obviously, no guarantee that it's going to be the highest fee transaction for your rune, but you can use that, and you can also use the same functionality for minting runes whose mint time window hasn't opened up yet. So please enjoy.
Thank you very much, guys. This was the Ordinals Frontier. These are the guys and gals that are building the tools for you to conquer and make your stake. So yeah, talk to them, check it out. Thank you very much.